country. Well, 6 o'clock here on a Monday, and we've gotten some terrible news very recently. As well, we'll go ahead and just throw it out there. The Austin Riley injury has it's been figured out. And Austin Riley, go ahead and bring in the actual photo of it because they made one, and so I figured you want to go ahead and see this. But Austin Riley is going to be out, and he is going to be out for, looks like 6 to 8 weeks. As 6 to 8 weeks, we'll go ahead and put it up here on the screen. Here it goes. All right, so Austin Riley will miss 6 to 8 weeks. He's got a broken hand. So there you have that. That was announced by the Atlanta Braves earlier today, about a couple hours ago. And it was what I feared when I saw it because it hit him right in the hand. And the reason why I kind of had the worst case scenario in my mind is because we saw this several times with Freddie Freeman. Freddie Freeman, same thing. We get hit in the wrist. And how many times that happened to him? 3 times that I can think of. You get hit in the wrist, bam. He'd be gone for 6 to 8 weeks. The hope is that Austin Riley will recover quickly. If you map it out, 6 weeks from today, you're literally talking about the beginning of the MLB playoffs. We have 6 weeks left in the season. The last game, or the last day of the season, barring anything goofy, is going to be the September 29th, which is a Sunday, obviously, as they always do that. And September 29th, it's going to be the final series. In 6 weeks, what you would hope for is that he is sitting there the very next day. It's probably not going to happen. We know how this goes. When they go 6 to 8 weeks, and the way the Braves, I don't know what the deals with the Braves training staff is, but no one ever comes back earlier. And to me, that's always been a problem because the idea of the training staff would be, why the hell are we not? I don't know why give me 1 second. I see some comments. For some reason, I'm not getting it on my typical feed. So let me go into here and get it. I was wondering what was going on, but anyways, but 6 weeks to me would be your typical, that's best case scenario, but we never see the Braves come in on the best case scenario. What we always see with the Braves is they say 6 to 8 weeks. It's usually quicker. It's usually closer to 8 weeks. So what does that mean? That means that really takes us into the playoffs. It takes us so far out. It means that you would have to get probably to the NLCS. You'd probably have to get to the NLCS. And so there's that going on. And right now, what we have, let's see. I see some folks in the chat. I'm just trying to figure out why I'm not seeing the chat for whatever damn reason. But, that's YouTube for you. I see some things scrolling wrong now. So looking at this, the Atlanta Braves are going to be without Austin Riley for 6 to 8 weeks. That's the short of it. And I know that took too long to get to, but I'm having technical issues. So anyways, with that being said, we've got a couple other things that are going on here. And one of the main things would be the fact that who do you put in place? Who do you put in place for this? And CP says Goat broke the chat. So who do we go to third? Who do we get to play for third base? I went over some names, honestly, and at this point, Now, look, they did reinstate Raylo from the IL. That's number one with the bullet. They did that, and not only did they reinstate Raylo, they sent Jimmy Herget down. They have not announced who they're going to bring up for Austin Riley. There is a name out there. There is someone who has been released yesterday afternoon, and he's not Austin Riley, obviously. No one's going to be picked up off the trash heap that's named Austin Riley, right? There's anything close to that. But what we do have is Gio Urshela. He was released by the Detroit Tigers. He's hitting, I don't have it in front of me, but I was looking at it today. It's got like a 235 average, 5 home runs, a little bit of a pop. He at one point was a decent bat for the New York Yankees. He has had just a very blah season, and I think the Tigers released him because they want to see what their younger guys can do, and the Tigers are out of the playoffs. So there's an outside chance they could pick him up. The problem is he's got to go through the waiver system. And if you're competing against the Braves and you see Gio Urshela out there, you may grab him just to keep him away from the Braves. He's not a phenomenal player. He's not a guy that you're going to go, whoa, that can really do things. Charlie's asking, isn't there an outfielder that can play infield? I mean, not really. Yes, in theory. Adam Duvall at one point played third base. That was a long time ago. So in theory, but I don't think that's what they're going to do, Charlie. I think it's more likely that you're going to get something of the effect of possibly either now look, for the short term, for the very short term, I do believe that they're going to go straight to the waiver wire. I mean, to the AAA. And you got a couple of guys that you could bring down there. Zach Short did make it back through, so he's been sitting down there. The other guy that I kind of liked that's sitting down there is Brian Anderson. He was originally a third baseman, and he was picked up by the Braves. You remember he was on the team earlier, and then the Braves sent him down. Well, he elected free agency, but they showed him on the roster today. So I'm assuming that's an updated roster. That's not something. So if he's still down there, that's an option. If he has skated, okay, fair enough. But the Stripers roster today showed him on there. So take that for what it's worth. If he's still down there, that's a possibility. Brian Anderson played third base for a long time. He'd be a guy that would be at the back of your lineup. And he's like, I think he's 31, I believe is what I saw. 31 years old. If Anderson can fill in, look, what we're going to look to do is we're honestly going to be looking just to paste it together for the next 6 weeks and hope for the best. I think you're going to want to get a couple of guys involved in this. So Luke Williams will probably get his shot to play third base. But at the same token, you might bring up a Brian Anderson. You might bring up Zach Short again. Zach Short could be sitting on the bench while they say, Luke, it's your time to shine. Luke's not going to hit anything out of the ballpark on a consistent basis, but at the same token, Luke Williams is a guy that has speed. He plays third base pretty well, and we saw yesterday he can hit the ball. But he doesn't have the power. You'd put him in the back of the lineup. Now, the good news, it appears that Jorge Soler will be back tomorrow. They hinted at that on Sunday. Nothing has changed on that front, and the fact that they didn't send him to the IL, I think, is a sign. So let's think about the other idea that you could have. Let's say you bring Eli White up. If you bring Eli White up for his speed and put Luke Williams at third, there is the outside chance that you have Duvall start taking grounders at third so he can spell third base if something happens to Luke Williams or you just want to give him a day off. But when Adam Duvall first came up, he was a first baseman, he was a third baseman, and then he eventually went into the outfield. But that was for a necessity of the teams that he's played for. Not just Atlanta, but Miami at the time. Miami had Brian Anderson playing third. So there's a lot of moving parts there, but whoever we have, they're not going to bring you the offensive prowess that Austin Riley will bring you. But we haven't had a full lineup this whole damn year. We just haven't. And with that being said, if we haven't had a full lineup this entire year, what's new? Let's go. Let's get after it. Let's come on. Let's do this. So I think that there's a real chance that we're going to get, let me see if I can get some of these the comments and everything, read them a little better. I have to look over in this direction because I don't know what in the hell's going on with I think it's a Google problem. I don't think it's anyways, Google doing Google things. So let me get to some of the comments and questions. If you want to watch this show live, become a country club member. And I've got some funny clips. I'm going to play one tonight before we leave, but we have put some stuff together today. Basically talking about, we're talking about 10 cents a day. So we went the whole Sally Struthers route. I think they're pretty funny commercials. We got 3 of them, but anyways. All right, so here we go. Duval had some good games in the hot corner. Charles saying, yeah, like I said, he can't. And the thing is, it's not like we're asking an older player to go play center field. We're asking him to go play third. He's not going to be Austin Riley. I get that. But what you're hoping for is to get someone who can give you something like a Merrifield. Now think about this. In about a month, maybe even less, in a perfect world, 2 to 3 weeks, Ozzie Albies will be back. When Ozzie Albies comes back, Whit Merrifield plays third as well, so you could put Whit over at third. So you're really, if everything goes correctly, you're really only buying 2 to 3 weeks. So that doesn't feel as astronomical of just a gut punch, because it was, man. I looked at it and I was dreading it. Anytime that I've seen, anytime they say the information was inconclusive and we want to take a better look at it when we get back home to Atlanta, I'm like, the damn thing's broken. That's the first thing I went to, because if it was nothing, they usually say something to the effect of show some swelling, inflammation, that kind of thing, and we're going to take it day to day, but we do want to take another look when we get back. No, that's not what they said. They said inconclusive. I was like, inconclusive? That means the damn thing's broken. It means whatever imaging the machine they're looking at, they didn't want to buy into it, but also he is obviously in pain, so there it is. So if you're just joining us, Austin Riley out 6 to 8 weeks. All right. The next thing that I want to talk about on the docket, as bad as that is, and I know that that's a gut punch, I do want to bring a silver lining. There's a couple silver linings here. First of all, when you talk about the wild card race, where we're at, we've been talking about this for quite some time, is that we're not even worried about the damn the division, because right now we sit in the division 7 games back. That's a monumental task to overcome. We would literally have to sweep the Phillies this week and probably have to sweep them next week, or take 3 out of 4 in Philadelphia to have any shot of that. And it's not realistic. Baseball players are playing against our team as well, and there's going to be good days and there's going to be bad days. So if that was realistic, they'd all have college football records. They'd all be 12-1 because they're playing, Samford or whatever the hell they're playing. So what you're hoping to do in Atlanta is to win the series. What you're hoping to do in Philly is to split the series. But we'll get into that here in 1 second. So 7 games out of first place. All right, we're used to winning the division, but there's more than one way to skin a cat. And we are sitting right now, as we speak, 2 games in front of the New York Mets, 4 in front of San Francisco. And remember, we're going to have the tiebreaker on San Francisco for the season series, because we took 3 or 4 in San Fran. They took what? I can't remember if they took 2 or 3 or 1 of 3, but regardless, it pans out. We're going to have the better record. We're either 4-3 on the year or 5-2 on the year. I don't have it in front of me, but I do know that we've got it. So they're 4 back. Not putting down San Francisco, not putting down St. Louis, who's 5. Cubs, 5.5. Cincinnati, 6.5. But I'm not that worried about them because that is a long way for them to get us. And if they catch us, either A, they got smoking hot and there's nothing you can do, or B, we have fallen flat on our face and it is what it is. But what I see is we're really looking at 3 teams we care about in the state. You can make the argument for San Fran, St. Louis, whatnot, but I'm going to make the argument for this. The Mets are 2 back. We're scoreboard watching every night with them. And Arizona is now only 2.5 in front of us. San Diego's 3.5. San Diego has been red hot. It's going to be really hard to catch them, but they're going to be playing some Arizona. They're going to be playing some Dodgers. You never know. They're going to be playing the Mets. The Mets, and coming up this week, the Mets are playing Baltimore, San Diego, and then they're at San Diego this week, and then at Arizona and at Chicago. The New York Mets are about to go on a 10-game road trip. And much like our road trip, they do have kind of a laugher in the White Sox, but they've got to go to Arizona and they got to go to San Diego. And I can tell you, because I was listening to New York radio this morning, because I'm always curious about other markets and how they're reacting. They don't love it. You know what they were saying? They're like, man, as long as we don't go 2-8, we'll take it. 3-7, it could happen. We would love to be 4 out of 10. If that happens, your Atlanta Braves should make up some ground. We're going to be at home for the next 6. Then we got to go on a 7-game road trip. It's not going to be easy. 3 in Minnesota, 4 in Philly. But that's why this week I think it's imperative to win the series. Win the Philly series and win the Washington series. Washington's had our number this year. They really have. Let's see. Charlie says that she's been a Braves fan since 95. Charles says he's been a Braves fan since opening day 1966. That's pretty cool. Goat, have you put in how long you've been a Braves fan? I would say Robert's been a Braves fan about 10 years, but I don't realistically know that. My guess is Goat has been a Braves fan somewhere around how long I've been. I've been a Braves fan since 82. I was watching every single freaking game by 83. But 82, I got my first interest. I'm hoping that, okay, so Robert 2018 and Goat 86. Okay, so really close to where I'm at. I was a little kid. I've told this story a million times. I was a little kid in 82, and I knew I liked baseball. I liked playing baseball, and all of a sudden we were getting the Braves on TBS. We had it down here in this area. My uncle here in Florida was watching it middle of the summer when we went over to his house. And I remember him saying, he goes, you get this every day, because he asked my parents, do you have TBS and all this? He goes, yeah. I was like, I can watch this every day. Of course, look what the hell that turned into. But that was kind of the creak in the door that kicked it wide open. My grandfather was a huge Hank Aaron fan, because he watched Hank Aaron play minor league baseball in Jacksonville. More on that probably during the broadcast tomorrow, but I found a cool little tidbit about that. But and then my grandfather on my mom's side was a huge Brooklyn Dodger fan, and when they left, he turned into a Mets fan, and all my family up there were Mets fans. I was like, I'm not pulling for the damn Mets, because they were giving me crap about my football teams. So, but anyways, got sidetracked there. Talking about the first of all, the road trip. I thought the 6-4 road trip, I know a lot of people are going to be bummed. They're going, man, we should have won 7-3, because we should have won that game on last Sunday in Colorado. I totally agree. We should have had that win. But same token, I didn't think we were going to go in to the Lions' Den in San Francisco and face some really damn good starting pitching and take 3 or 4. That was phenomenal. And I think that's the biggest thing that I take away from that from that road trip is that they took 3 or 4 in San Francisco, which is outrageously phenomenal. This time of year to beat the Giants, who are usually in the race, that was extremely impressive. That's a feather in your cap. And we went into Los Angeles, played the Angels. I get it, the Angels aren't that good, but you did what you're supposed to do. You won the series. We would have loved to have won game 1. The offense didn't show up. Solaire's going to come back Tuesday is what they're expecting. All I've seen about with Travis d'Arnaud is that he had his hand iced after the game on Saturday night. Sunday, he continued to ice it down, but they believe he's going to be okay, and he'll be available at some point in the series on the Philadelphia series. So what I would guess is that they'll probably put Murphy on Tuesday and then have d'Arnaud play maybe Wednesday and then give him 1 or 2 days off to make sure he's okay, that kind of crap. They could wait till Thursday to put d'Arnaud in. That's a problem for me because this offense is better when Travis d'Arnaud's in the lineup as of late. I know he started off slow. Then he had that big weekend. Then he didn't do anything for like a month. But he's been more consistent hitter. Sean Murphy, he pulls everything. He's slow as a box of rocks. So anything gets hit hard on the ground or gets hit on the ground, if it doesn't get through the hole, we're screwed. It's a double play. And so that's kind of where we're at. But the Braves are going to have they have a 2-game lead going into tonight. They'll have the Mets. I think this is huge. The Mets have 3 more games at home against Baltimore, which we all know Baltimore's a good baseball team. Baltimore could win 2 of 3 in that series. It's in New York, but they could win 2 of 3. Hell, Baltimore's good enough to sweep them. And then the other thing would be they go out on the road and they start off at San Diego. That's going to be tough. They are, once again, let me see. Yeah, okay, I have it in front of me. At San Diego, at Arizona, and then at the end of the road trip, they're playing the White Sox. And to me, that's the best time that they're going to play them, because if they get their butts handed to them in San Diego and Arizona, they are just going to be on fumes. They're going to get to Chicago, and they might play with their food, and the next thing you know, they might lose a series in Chicago. I would hope over the next 10 days. So we're talking about, we'll just say, we'll say for the next 2 weeks, because it's a 3-game series against Baltimore, and then they go on the road. And the Braves are at home for 6, and then they're on the road for 7. We're 2 games up on the Mets. We're 4 up on San Francisco, 5 up on St. Louis, and I'll cut it off there because we could just go on and on about that. All the other teams are further back. We get done with these 2 weeks, and we have a lead of bigger than the 2. I'll be happy if it's a 3-game lead, a 4-game lead, a 5-game lead. For the last wildcard spot, I will be thrilled. At the same token, you start scoreboard watching, see what Arizona's doing, see what San Diego's doing. It's not out of the realm of possibility that the Braves could catch San Diego and Arizona, but they're going to have to get hot, and they're going to need help because it's not like they're in our division. We're going to be playing them left and right. So there you have that. You look at the pitching matchups for the series. I think this series is going to be very entertaining. You got Ronaldo Lopez versus Zach Wheeler Tuesday night. Now, they have bumped that up, by the way. Wheeler was supposed to pitch on Wednesday, and Nolas was pitched on Thursday, and there was a question mark on Tuesday. They have pushed Wheeler up. So Wheeler is going on, he's not going on short rest, but he's going on normal rest, right? Same thing with Nola. And then they got Christopher Sanchez on Thursday so it's Lopez versus Wheeler, Fried versus Nola, Schwellenbach versus Sanchez. I think Philly's got the edge in game 1 starting pitching-wise because Lopez, who knows how many pitches he's going to be able to go. He threw 71 last week. I would think that he'd be okay to go somewhere around 80-plus, maybe even 90. But they're not going to. There's a good chance Grant Holmes spells him tomorrow night for a few innings. Max Fried versus Aaron Nola. Man, Max has got to step up, man. He has gotten pounded by the freaking Phillies. The Braves bats are going to have to do something because Nola has had pretty damn good success against the Braves. Now, we've gotten to him from time to time, but big picture, Nola's had some gems. Remember opening day a few years back when I can't remember the name of their manager at the time, but they pulled him. They pulled Nola on opening day. The Braves came roaring back and won on opening day. Well, Aaron Nola was throwing a damn gem that day, and he's done it a lot on the Braves. I think Christopher Sanchez, I think the Braves have the advantage. We're going to have Schwellenbach on the mound. Phillies have not seen much of him. You know, they're pretty much just looking at the video. And left-handers against the lineup that we have, I feel like Thursday we have the advantage. Tuesday, Philadelphia has a slight advantage. But remember, we've got a much stronger bullpen than they do. And then Wednesday's really a toss-up. If Max Fried goes out there and shoves and does Max Fried type things, I think the Braves have a chance to sweep the damn series. If Raylo goes out there and gives us 5 strong, and then you get Grant Holmes dealing, they could win game. But realize you can't have a bad inning because Zach Wheeler has dominated the Braves pitching. Braves hitting, excuse me. He is absolutely dominated. So we've got a chance to win this series. Very legitimately should win this series. We've got an outside chance to sweep it, but they can't play with their food, and I would hope that what we'll see from Snitker on Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and Thursday night is an aggressive Brian Snitker, playoff Snitker. I want playoff Snitker. I want the guy that goes out there and you get a couple of signs of trouble, you go get the starter. You go, that's it. I don't want to see them have a guy, whoever the pitcher is, and he's loaded the bases and nobody's going out there to talk to him yet. And then they wait to go talk to him at that point. When you get the first sign of trouble, go talk to him, calm him down. That's what I want to see. And you look at a couple of the other teams and what they're going to be going against. San Diego this week is playing Minnesota and the Mets. So 3 at home against Minnesota, 4 at home with the Mets. One way or the other, if we win, we're going to gain on the back end of this weekend. Because starting Thursday night, the Mets and the Padres play. Somebody's got to lose. That can only be an advantage for us. Same thing with the Mets and the Diamondbacks play start next Monday. And then going into early next week, San Diego plays at San Diego. So there you have that. But early in the part of the week, we are Marlins fans, we are Baltimore Oriole fans, and we are Minnesota Twin fans. Those are the 3 teams. And I'm going to try to scroll through here. I know the folks in the chat are having a field day talking about good times, old times. Just want to see if make sure there's not any. I don't think there's any questions. If there's any questions, you know what, we'll do this. We'll open up the questioning. Now, if there's any questions or any comments that you want to throw at us, throw them in the chat right now, and we'll answer them. If not, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Robert, who do the Braves play this weekend? The Braves are at home against Washington. So we're at home for 3 against the Phillies, 3 at home against Washington. Then we go on the road next week at Minnesota and a 4-game series at Philly. And just a programming note, the grill giveaway goat will be happening right around October, like just as the playoffs start. The country club members will get basically every month that you're a country club member going forward, you're going to get a ticket into the kitty, and we'll do a raffle here on the air, and we will announce the winner. I don't have the exact date. I really want to see how the season plays out because if we're doing, I don't want to try to do it in the middle of a game because it's going to be too big of a pain. So it depends, but the goal would be to do it sometime around the October 1st ish, something like that. Last game of the season, I think I said, was September 29th, and that's September 29th. And if the Braves need that win to get in the playoffs, we're obviously doing the game. So if not, then we might do it during the chat, during the game or something. But we'll get all that figured out. It's just a little tailgate barbecue grill. I think it's a pretty cool grill. It's a pretty good size, and basically what we'll do is whoever wins, we'll mail it out to you. So you should have it in time for whatever playoff series that the Braves get going. And I think that's about it. But I got to play one of these funnies for y'all because y'all are in the country club. You're going to start hearing these from time to time. We're trying to figure out where we put them. All right, I'm going to play one of the longer ones as we get out of here. If anyone has any more questions, now's the time to or comments, now's the time to fire them away. I don't see any. I'm going to wait a couple of seconds, make sure there's not a delay. And I hope everybody likes the new graphics that we're using for the play-by-play. If you haven't seen it, we started it Saturday night, and we did it Sunday during the chat. The Sunday chat, by the way, has been moved to Cover Country Radio. I won't get into the whole logistics again, but they're basically messing with the algorithm on this channel. So we want to continue to do the chat, but we didn't want to screw up our algorithm. That's the short of it. Says he really likes the AI stuff. Yeah, I do too. Our biggest problem when they first came out with it, first of all, we found a way for it to be much smoother. When we first did it Saturday, it was kind of clunky, and I see that clunkiness on other broadcasts. But they're also not trying to do the same thing. They're sitting there just cheering it on. We always call them cheerleader channels, where they're just like, yay, go Braves, and then they disappear for 20 minutes or outside smoking, doing a smoke and taking a leak or whatever the hell they're doing. And we're calling play-by-play. I wanted to make sure it would sync up because I'm like, if it's not going to sync up, it's going to be a problem. People are going to be like, what the hell, man? You're calling a strike, and the computer is 3 pitches behind, or vice versa. So that was the big thing. But the fact that we got it to sync up, I think it looks pretty cool. Yes, Robert, college football begins this Saturday, which reminds me, the college football kickoff show here on Braves Country Radio is going to be this Saturday. And we will start at it's 8:30 kickoff. It's 8:30 to 10. And it's going to be live for all country club members. And then if you're not in the country club, it will drop right after that. But the big thing is, if you're a country club member, you're going to be able to ask us what bets, if hey, what do you like here? What do you like there? If not, you're just going to have to react as they come out. And like I said, those will be 8:30 to 10 every Saturday throughout the season. And we're excited about that. And I think I've got a guy coming back on the show. I don't want to spoil it, but I got a guy coming back on the show that has not been on the show in a very long time. And he's a big Braves fan. He's a Tennessee fan. It's probably not who you're thinking of. If you're a listener to the show, you're going, oh, I know who it is. I don't think you do. This guy usually has really good insight for college football. He's a big college football fan. And the draft, what was the question about the draft? We're doing the fantasy football draft on the 31st. Yes, it's the 31st. The fantasy football draft is going to be the show. So we're going to be drafting on the show, and we hope to have it done by about 10, but I'm not that worried about it because that one we don't put on external radio because you'll see why, but it's not a good radio show. There's just a lot of people staring at the screen. We tried to do it. We were all hosting the show and had topics, and it was a disaster. We did it for many years, and it's just a disaster because I'm trying to keep up with like 900 things, and I'm trying to draft my team. It really is impossible. By the way, we do have one more slot that is open. Someone's got to drop me their email because they would have to take it over. For those of y'all who aren't familiar with the Fantasy Football League, it's a free league. There's a trophy back here in the back. It's kind of like a Stanley Cup. The winner, we put the name on there, and that goes forever, and we'll always reference it. So it's a free league. We play for pride, or as we always like to joke about. We play for blood. We don't play for money, nothing like that. So, see, Charles is a Georgia Tech fan. All right, Charles. Well, I would say good luck to you this Saturday, but I'm a Florida State fan, so yeah, I don't even want to get hurt, but I don't want you beating us either. That should be. But anyways, the draft will be the 31st, 8:30. We'll get it going. I think the draft's at 8:45 just because I didn't want to welcome everyone to the show and then all of a sudden start the draft. So if anybody wants to do that, reach out to us. You can either inbox me on our Braves Country Radio Facebook channel, or our email is listed on the YouTube site as well. So either way, but if anyone wants that final slot, we got one slot left. And then once we get the final slot left filled, then we are going to auto pick. You'll see it pop up on your screen, and it'll tell you where you're drafting. And I'd like to have that done by this weekend so that people have 4, 5, 6 days, whatever, to prepare for the draft. All right, so I'm going to get out of here, y'all. Once again, if anyone that hasn't already joined, if you want to play in the league, shout us out. If not, we'll see you. The next one of these Braves Country Todays will be, I guess it'll be Friday. I'm not sure of the time, but it'll be earlier on Friday ahead of the Washington series. Y'all have a great one, Braves Country, and enjoy your night. And it sucks about Riley, but the only thing I can say is that we've been through the damn gauntlet this year with injuries. It almost feels like, to me, this team's going to win the whole damn thing because they just can't kill us. Every time they injure us, we continue to stay on top. We will see you tomorrow night, 7:20, first pitch.